Welcome, everybody on TikTok. How are you guys tonight? We're going to give this a second for a few people to tune in. If you guys could give me a thumbs up here on TikTok, letting me know that you can hear me and see me all right, that would be helpful before we move forward. Okay, welcome, everyone on YouTube. Good to see you guys. If someone could give me a thumbs up, let me know that you can hear me and see me all right. Before we go ahead and get started, welcome everyone on Instagram. Welcome on Facebook. This will be the last live anything that I do on Facebook and Instagram. After this, I am logging off officially, deactivating my account. So any of you who do follow me on Instagram or Facebook, you can find me on YouTube or on TikTok at Ask Ivy. Both are the same. All right, looks good. I got a few thumbs up here. Looks like we're doing well on video and audio. So we're going to give this a minute for a few people to tune in. And in the meantime, I do want to make a couple quick announcements. I am currently running my summer sale. It expires on the 4th of July, so it's 10% off all classes at the Ivy League Psychic Academy. That is a huge break on registration, obviously, for the Psychic Mediumship course, Christina DelRey's Tarot course, and things like that. It is also 10% off of readings and all other services of that nature. So check it out. Also wanted to announce Christina DelRey, astrologer, is offering her astrology course again. Now, we haven't done this since before COVID. So this is a really big deal to have this back in circulation. And she's going to be doing it through a video download. So you'll be able to, take the classes at your own pace. And again, her course is absolutely phenomenal. I've taken it 3 times. Every time I learn more, and I'm super excited to have it back. So you guys keep an eye on that. We're going to be releasing the videos one at a time. Christina's tarot course, The Art of Tarot, is also up on the website. So if you're interested in developing not just your psychic abilities, but also your mediumistic abilities, she trains you in the intuitive method of reading the cards as well as the traditional method. So check out her tarot course. I also want to say that on the 16th of July, we have a few different events here going on here at Roots Revival, Ivy League Psychic Academy headquarters. So on the 16th of July, we have a $10 open circle. For those of you who've been following me for a long time, you may remember Open Circle, where you could ask a question. We got to spend time with the like-minded and do some spiritual development. It's a ton of fun, and it's super cheap, and we always have a great time. I thought it was time to bring it back. So you guys can join us here in person or through Zoom. Also on the 16th, I have the self-guided tours going on here at the 1800s Victorian Funeral Home, and the paranormal tours starting up again at 10 and 11 p.m. You're going to want to book ahead for those. All right. And then also anyone who's interested on getting on the early bird wait list for my symbology book, you're going to want to put your email in the comments section. The symbology book includes the 4 hours of training that I give to my psychic mediumship students and much, much more. That'll be coming out soon enough, as soon as I get motivated enough to finish everything. All right. So looks like we have a few people tuned in. All right. Hello, guys. Looks good. So welcome, everyone. I'm your pastor, Ivy Rivera, psychic medium. I'm Taino Arawak. This is Roots Revival Interfaith. And I am here with Reverend Christina DelRey, our astrologer. Here at Roots Revival, we believe in the 3 truths in the universe. That is intuitive intelligence, astrology, and numerology. And when you tap into those 3 truths, you're able to heal yourself. You can better understand your life purpose, and you can ultimately go out and heal others. So we encourage you guys to check out old sermons here on YouTube at Ask Ivy in the Roots Revival playlist up at the top, or anywhere that you can download a podcast. You can listen to us on the go as well. Tonight's sermon, I am going to have Christina sort of run with it, and then I'm going to follow up behind her. I do want to encourage you guys to post. We're an interactive church, and we and really encourage you guys to post your questions, your comments. We do try to get to everybody toward the end. So Wesley, our adorable producer, he'll be taking your questions and comments at the end before we get into the prayer service. Now, I also want you to post your prayer and healing requests. We'll be taking those at the tail end of service tonight. Everybody, please give this video a thumbs up right now. Subscribe. Donations are always appreciated. All right. And leaving any kind of comments will get us moving in the algorithm. So that is also super important. Christina, do you want to announce what we're talking about tonight and go ahead and get started?
Yeah, this was inspired by the overturn of Roe versus Wade. And, we're kind of talking about a woman's revolution.
Women's role. Yep. Women's role in the new world revolution.
Yeah. And Ivy and I have been saying for a while now that a woman's revolution is coming. And I think that, we're definitely seeing that. This is really the first time we've gone backwards in women's rights. So, when we think about women's rights in astrology, we think about Lilith. And, anybody who knows the story of Lilith, you won't hear this one in the church. This is not something you'll hear from the patriarchy. But to make a long story short, Adam and Lilith were made of clay. Lilith was Adam's first wife, and she was his equal. And they were sent off to procreate. And Lilith would not lie beneath Adam because she felt like she was an equal. And she ran off screaming to the Red Sea because she just absolutely refused. And the angels are sent to go get her and bring her back and kind of lure her back, but she refuses. And she starts to curse pregnancy, which is why, pregnancy has pain. This is the legend. This is the story. She refused to be submissive. She refused to be subservient. She demanded equality. And I think that we can all take a little inspiration from that story because the time has come. We do need to, we cannot go backwards. Lilith demanded that she be able to express her sexual freedom and equality, independence and rebellion with her strong, fiery spirit. So wherever Lilith is in your chart is where you harness this energy, where you're supposed to learn to speak up and learn to be rebellious and express your rebellion. You kind of are, wherever Lilith is, you're kind of seen as a different person. So that's important in your chart. But as a collective, as women and men as supporters of women, we have many of them. Men are not the enemy. The patriarch is the enemy at the moment because they want to suppress women's rights. And we all need to tap into that, Lilith. Let the patriarchy know that we will not stand for that. We are equal to men and we're not going to stand for less. And this really has nothing to do. I know a lot of people think this is pro-life versus pro-choice. And, they have you thinking that's what this is. That is not what this is. At least that's, in my opinion, this is more about controlling women's rights. It's about maintaining the rights of women. Because if they can take away our rights, what's the next one they can take? It's a slippery slope, just like, the Holocaust started. We're talking about taking one little thing away. And then what's next? We can't have birth control, laws on our birth control. Then what's after that? Okay. And then soon we'll be back. We'll be back and we'll be expected to stay in the home. Just one little thing can set us back so many years. So we all have to really be on the same page. We have to really flip what is happening. We can't, it's It doesn't have to do with pro-life or pro-choice, because I don't think anybody's out there going, I want to go have an abortion. Nobody's saying that. You know what I mean? Like we as spiritual people know that there is karma attached to things like that. And we are not against, we're not for, we don't really have an opinion on that. We just are for women's rights. We are for the right. If you need it, it's there. That's where we are with this. And we really need to tap into our inner revolutionary. And maybe by remembering some of the revolutionary women, we can kind of get back into, that mindset. People like Susan B. Anthony, who was a Quaker, and, in her community, she was able to speak equally, equal rights for both sexes, in her community. And when she came out of her community and realized that women were subservient, and women couldn't own property back then. They couldn't, they were essentially uneducated. They could not vote. She voted illegally, and then she was brought to trial. They had an all-male jury, and she couldn't even speak on her own behalf. When she did speak in crowds, people threw eggs at her. And once she was convicted, but she refused to pay the unjust fine. So we would not be this far if it wasn't for women like her. And we really have to have the same rebellious spirit, because we cannot go backwards. These attitudes are ingrained in the culture, especially with the patriarch. And, the first thing, what I was thinking too, was I'm a divorced woman. And I notice, especially with older men, if I call a business and I say something like, because they'll often ask my husband's there or whatever. And I'll say, well, I'm divorced, I'm newly divorced. And they'll go, oh, it's just terrible, and they feel so sorry for me. And while I know that they are not, I know it's what they were taught and it's polite and it's, I really think that it's kind of dangerous, because it almost feels like, oh, I'm so sorry. Let me run your life for you. Let me try to control some things, and it's like, no, I'm good. You know what I mean? It is not a tragedy that I am divorced. Okay. I am doing very well by myself. I can do all my own stuff. I'm good. And, and men just, they look at women as, weak. And women are, in my opinion, the stronger of the two sexes. And that's just really what it is. We go through a lot more than men do. And that's not to diss men, because men have it hard too. There's lots of hard things about being a man. Believe me, I know. I work with many, many male students. My school is very male heavy. So I know the hardships that they are under as well. But just being women, being physically a woman, just puts many things in our path. And just to speak of another inspiration, Betty Friedman, okay, she wrote The Feminine Mystique. And I thought this kind of tied very nicely into Ivy's, how Ivy talks about the soul contract. We talk about how it's in the chart, and we talk about how Ivy can see it when she's giving a reading. Well, The Feminine Mystique was a book by Betty Friedman, and she talked about really not living up to that life contract because of societal expectations. Now, think about the 1950s when women were expected to be housewives, right? They were expected to have the food on the table. They were expected to, congregate with the other moms and, do all the volunteer things. And this was supposed to be your life dream, to get married and have children and provide for your family, every little women need. And for a while, women were like, okay, but then all of a sudden women started noticing, well, I'm not happy. I want to work too. I want something for myself. I don't want to give my all to my husband, to my children, and then have nothing left for myself. So women became very unhappy. And, she speaks about all this. They really wanted the freedom to think, to be, to speak, because, you were supposed to be subservient, to your husband. Your husband was supposed to be the boss. What he said goes, or, his opinion, you're supposed to back that up. But, they wanted to choose to be a person, not a stereotypical role. And that stereotypical role does not fit into everyone's life contract. Not to say that your life contract can't be to be a mother, because that can be in your life contract. Maybe that's what you were meant to do, but most people were not meant to only do that. They were meant to do more. And, if you are telling every single woman they have to be in this role, well, guess what? You know what I mean? You're not filling your contract. And yes, you are going to be miserable, because if you don't work towards your life contract, you are not going to be happy and you are not going to prosper. So the women needed to seek, she said that women needed to seek opportunities. And she encouraged women to break the barriers of sexual discrimination, demand work outside the home, equal opportunities and wages, equal voices. There was a bunch of organizations set up just to help women get started. I mean, this is not something that we can go back on. We start with one thing, it leads to another, it leads to another. So we have come so far. And, you don't know people's situations of why somebody might need an abortion. We don't know that. And we're not here to judge that. That's not for us to say. But to take away the right to have it, it's going the wrong way. It's just going the wrong way, and it's dangerous. We really have to work together with men. Hopefully we have some men who are open-minded and spiritual and woke enough to see that that is not okay. And, really just getting into the fact that women, if you think about it, women are forced to grow up when they, the role of a woman today. They're forced to grow up very early, a lot earlier than men. They are put in life situations that expect us to make life, be more responsible very early on. I mean, when we're young, we get a period, right? Now young girls are getting their periods at like 10, sometimes 8 years old. Okay. That puts you in a whole nother category. I know that some women or some cultures, make the women, once they get their period, wear hijab. So, that's distinguishing. As a school teacher, I know when a young girl has not been wearing hijab and she comes in with a hijab on, that is what happened. She got her period. So it's a marker in all cultures. It's like a doorway to womanhood. Okay. And men just don't have that. They don't have it. And, right then and there, if men bled out of their genitals, it would be a different world. That makes us responsible. I mean, that is a wake-up call. Nobody's ever really ready for their period, but they get it and they have to deal with it, right? It's reality. So it's a reality check. And then, expectations, you're a girl, you're going to help out around the house, you're going to help with the dishes, you're going to help babysit, the younger siblings. So again, here we are, we're being more responsible. Even think about like jobs that we give, chores that we give girls versus boys. What does the boy have to do? Well, he's got to go, take out the trash. What does the girl have to do? Well, she's got to go do the dishes. And I'm not saying that's true for everybody, but typically this has been, kind of a thing. And then, we get, as the girl gets older, well, she's got to worry about the birth control, right? I mean, if this makes a woman be mature, and then if a girl gets pregnant and she's expected to carry that baby to term, now she's got to take care of it. Now, not every man runs, of course, not everybody does, but some men are not old enough to, take on that responsibility. They go their own way. Who has to care for that baby? It's the woman. So now the man gets to go lead his life and work and, live his contract. but yet the woman is here and now she has a baby to take care of. So it's really hard to do what you want to do when you don't have that support. So it just makes women have to be more responsible, and women have to be more mature very early, and because they have no choice. And it's like it's really, unfortunately, it's very socially acceptable for men just to not do as much. And then, and we have a lot of really good, I know I seem like I'm man bashing, but I'm not. I know that there's a lot of wonderful men out there who help and do a lot and are really good fathers and things like that. So, and I do know some, not enough, but I know some. And it's really more acceptable for the men not to do most of what's going on with the children, with the house. It's just acceptable. When a man is out, he's babysitting with his own children. When a woman has her children, she's mothering. And as a result of all of this, I think that this is why women get sick. Women get stressed, and women have all these issues, all these really anxiety, stress, panic attacks, all these things, because so much is on women's shoulders. And if I was a man and I looked at that, would I want to take on any of that? I don't think I would if I didn't have to. So that's just kind of the way society is set up, and it really does need to change. But we have to realize the power is with us. It starts with us. And we have to empower our daughters. We have to empower our sons. We have to make this something that we speak about in schools. We have to, many boys are, they don't even really know how to talk about periods and things like that. Well, they're going to have a daughter someday, maybe, or they're going to have a wife someday. So they should know this stuff. If a girl is getting her period so young, well, then the boy needs to know all about it and be able to dialogue about it. That's how I feel like it should be equal. All right, I think I'm off my my little soapbox now, Miss Ivy.
My turn. So, all right. So, women's role in the New World Revolution. What does this really mean? What are we really talking about today? What Christina's talking about, and Christina, I'd like to hear some of the astrological aspects of this as well. I know we've talked about it at what did we do? The Divine Feminine, I think it came up a bit, and then we talked about it again. End times, are we there? We did, a few other classes together. And I think even some of the relationship classes that we did, we talked some about the astrology, but I would like to hear more on that going forward, because one of my predictions, for those of you who've been following me, is it has been that since 2019, the circumstances internationally have been sort of coming to a head, and the revolution was sparked. I'm also a huge believer in the Hopi prophecy, stating that, in the end times, that those who refuse to turn towards spirit will turn dark and fall off, will fall away, will go mentally ill and deteriorate and be basically run off. Well, that to me in 2019 was the beginning of, if you want to call it the end, I think it's the new world being rebuilt. And so I'm always saying from 2019 to about 2025, I think this is when we're going to see the biggest battles in the revolution, because we can't expect for the patriarchy to completely die off and capitalism to die off and all of these old systems of, religion and everything else to just fall to the wayside easily. There are going to be battles. So with the fight to hold on, right? Racism, white supremacy, all of this going on, it's sort of, it's becoming where every couple months we're going to see some other huge flare up and threat to our rights. And this is Roe v. Wade overturned is just yet another one of those. And I think we of course will feel the impact in a very real way. I'm not saying that this is fictitious in any way. It's very real, but there is a bigger picture going on here. And we are pretty early, right? What year is this, 2022? I mean, we're pretty early in the beginning stages. Again, at 2025, I don't feel that this is over. I feel like that's sort of the tipping point. And then we start to see some results for all of this. So we need to hold on, sisters, okay? And we need to continue to also understand that this revolution is going to be led by 3 groups of people. That's the LGBTQ community, that's minorities, and that's women. So when we see Black, Brown, Indigenous, we see trans, gay, LGBTQ community members, and we see women having to fight. That's not coincidental. All of this is perfectly designed in the revolution for the new world, the death of the old world, okay, end times. This is the plan. And so we're going to be hard hit. These things are even connected, the LGBTQ community and abuse against minorities and women's rights. They're intertwined, even politically. I mean, there's no doubt that this is the battle, and we are full on in it. We have been now for a few years, couple years, and it's going to get worse. It's going to get uglier. But if you understand the bigger picture and we come together and stay tight knit, we keep fighting for each other and supporting each other, we're going to get through it. We're going to make the best of these situations, because just like Christina said, sometimes you just got to be pushed to that point to find your power. And we've been able to avoid, this type of eruption for a while. And it is definitely unfortunate in a lot of ways. I think that there is an upside to it, though, for sure. Most of us don't grow and really come into our power until we're forced to. It just isn't human nature to want to do all that work. So it's coming, and it's going to be amazing. It's going to be phenomenal in the new world. I am looking forward to every battle along the way, to be completely honest, because we've been in sort of this, sleepy, latency period for a really long time. And I've just been waiting for the shakeup to finally happen. We have to admit that we've seen corruption our entire lives, most of us anyways, who have our eyes and ears open. We have been watching it happen, and we've been feeling as though our hands are tied, and that's not the situation anymore. Okay. As things come to a head and the battle begins, we have an opportunity to pick up our swords, and that's exactly where we need to be. So let's keep it in mind. I also think that this is a time for women to take on more of that independent role, and say enough is enough with men who aren't stepping up. So Christina has a polite way of saying, not all men. Okay, well, I'm going to say there aren't enough of you stepping up, period. Point blank, that's what's happening. It is in this revolution, not just on LGBTQ women and minorities to do it. This is a call for white men, especially, but all men, to step up. And until you do, the negative karma is going to be there for you guys. So there is a real call to duty, a call to action, and it's unacceptable to stay on the sidelines anymore. And if more and more women say, I'm not dealing with men who aren't stepping up, then we're going to find some pretty dramatic results. Research shows that it's men that are dying alone. Men love to threaten women. You're going to die alone. What's going to happen to you when your looks go? Nothing. I'm going to live like a golden girl. I'll be Rose, you be Blanche, whatever. It's going to be fantastic. It's going to be fabulous, because women do live in community and men don't. So statistics show men are dying alone. That's not a problem for women. Research also shows that something like 63% of women who divorce, if they had immunodeficiency, immunocompromised problems, all kinds of health problems that Christina was mentioning earlier, depression, anxiety, a million other things, disappears. Get rid of men, get rid of health problems. Okay. We also see that the most unhappy group of people on the earth are women who are married or in long-term relationships and living in residency with men. Because the only benefits to marriage and long-term relationships are really for men. Women come in and it's, don't eat that. We got to watch your health. Let me make the phone calls for you. Let's make sure we send out the birthday messages. Let me wipe your rear end. It's ridiculous. These are children. These aren't equals. These aren't partnerships. And so that takes a toll in time. And like Christina said, we've been raised to believe we're supposed to want that. I don't know who wants that. I mean, I don't even really have friends who want that, but like, I get it. A lot of people don't know any different. So a lot of women do want to have that for some reason. But it's really gross. It is gross to have a grown person that you're caring for in that way, and to have them not contribute anything back to you so much of the time that it deteriorates your health, your emotional stability, your well-being, your finances. And women need to finally start saying, look, this is a lopsided deal. I don't want the shit end of the stick on this anymore. If you're not even supporting me in my rights in a big way, if you're not a feminist, if you can't do this for me, you don't belong in my bed, in my house, in my life. And we're going to see more and more of that. And as we see more and more of that, leading up again into 2025, 2026, and I think this particular topic really peaking in 2027, we're going to see more and more women come together. That community is going to get stronger. That's going to be happening internationally. We have a lot to look forward to. This is one of the battles in the war, and there will be many. And I think we need to look at all of them, whether we feel like we're winning or we're losing, as an opportunity for growth and to come into our power. I do want to say, before I pass this back over to Christina, because I did want to hear a little bit on the astrology. Thank you for the donations, people. Everybody, please give this video a thumbs up. Leave a comment. It does help us in the algorithm. This is Roots Revival Interfaith Sunday service, and we are going to be taking your questions and comments here in a minute. And after that, we'll be doing your prayer and healing requests. So start posting them now if you haven't already done so. Christina, what is in the astrology for this?
I think that we're going to be getting glimpses of what's to come. And I think my prediction is that it'll be full effect when Pluto goes into Aquarius, which is going to be, I believe it's 2023 for a little bit, 2024, it will stay there. So, but Uranus, you and I did a show a long time ago on Uranus and Taurus. And I don't know if you remember that, but we did it at your old place. And, people were like, oh, do you think the stock market's going to crash? What do you think is going to happen? But Uranus in Taurus is revolution, and it's going to be there for a long time still. So it's not going anywhere. But once Pluto goes into Aquarius, I think the world changes at that point, where there's going to be more rebellion. Aquarius is all about rebellion. Pluto is about death and rebirth. And this is going to be our country's Pluto return, which is its own, has to transform, has no choice. Transform or die, or like die and then transform, you know what I mean? So we're going to see key points of it, especially with the North Node, in the eclipses and things like that. Yes, those are all little glimpses, but I think the big guns is going to be Pluto and Aquarius. So it's coming. We have to change. We can't keep going like this because we're not vibrating higher, and we're not giving people opportunities to vibrate higher. Women at this point in time have it very tough. We're recognizing all of these minority groups that have it so tough, and it's out of balance. And that started during COVID, to really look at that, because we had to pause. We had to look at that as a society. And, the astrology called for that. The astrology said we have to do this. There has to be a revolution. So now we are just, we're getting more into the women here, but it's the same. It's all the same. We can't go back, and there's going to be a moment where there's not going to be a choice. We have to change or die. So And that's coming. I think 2023, 2024, once Pluto moves into Aquarius, the world has to change at that point.
I'm ready. Amen. Very exciting times. Difficult, yes, but exciting. Has to happen. It's like we're literally in the birth process, really interesting. All right, so we do want to get into questions and comments. I do want to jump the gun. Wesley, our producer, is going to be popping up the questions, but Wesley, I'm going to jump the gun on Bethany Renner's question here. So I don't know if you want to pop it up, but it says, yes. Okay, where can we read? Thank you so much. Where can we read solid information on Lilith's story? So I'm gonna let Christina speak on that, but Christina and I have also been talking for probably the last month or so about holding a women's group. We may only do this maybe once, maybe we'll do it 2 or 3 times. We don't have a set agenda on it, but we wanted it to be focused on Lilith in everyone's astrology. And it's going to be called something like Finding and Embracing Your Lilith. This will be a women's, more like a class, really, that we may be doing here at the Ivy League headquarters. You guys can come in person. We're going to try to do it down at the beach sometimes. And you can also join us through Zoom. Okay. So keep an eye out for that as well. Christina, can you answer her on this?
I have learned about Lilith through 2 famous astrologers. So I've also looked it up online. So you just really have to, there's a couple different versions, but it's really mostly the same information. And then the story of Lilith, you'll read that. And then Lilith is a chart point in everybody's birth chart where you find out how it applies to you.
Super exciting. Okay. And what else do we have here? Shauna Flint says, I would love that class. Yes, we will see you there, Shauna. Me Love 716 says, I believe as women, we need to see that we have the power, and we've always had the power. Many of us can't even see it, largely due to society, I'm sure. Raise the curtain and lift that veil. Right on. Me Love 716 also says, love it. Hope to see more women doing the same. Yes. 100%. And we will. Sometimes we just have to be pushed to that point. This may just do it. All right. Do we have any more questions or comments? We do. We have another one from a Bethany Renner. I am so grateful for this service today. Thank you so very much. My heart is singing. You're welcome, sister. Thank you for being here. All right. If we have any more questions and comments, we'll take those now. Otherwise, we are going to say our final word, and then we're going to get into the prayer and healing requests. I do want to remind everyone who's tuning in, and if you're tuning in late, if you want to listen to old sermons, you can go onto YouTube at Ask Ivy, up in Roots Revival Interfaith playlist, or anywhere that you can download a podcast for those of you who like to listen on the go. So before we get into prayers and healing requests, Christina, final word.
Really to just educate yourself, stay in your power. Remember, women are so strong. This is why we can do all of these things. There really is not a stronger creature on this earth. So we just, kind of what everybody's been saying in the comments, we need to really kind of stay together, and be together, because that's where our power lies, when we come together, because individually they're going to try to knock us down, but together we become super powerful.
And I would say that, remember, one of the things we talk about here all the time is new level, new devil. Every time there's a level up, okay? It is the law of the universe. There has to be a detox period. Typically 2 years, but we'll see how long this one lasts. There has to be. It's sort of like saying every time the bus stops, somebody's got to get off. In order for a new door to open, another door has to close. We are going through a detox period. You do this in your life all the time, even if you haven't really fully recognized it, or you don't really meditate on it a lot. This is a natural part of the process, and we are headed in the right direction, even if it doesn't necessarily seem that way today. Remember, yes.
I love that. I love that, because women are leveling up. So this is why we have to deal with this. I didn't even think of it in that context, but I love that. minorities are leveling up, so I do love that. And you're right. It is hard for a long time. It's battles after battle. And we have to stay the course.
We have to stay the course. And don't forget that the three groups, again, that are leading this revolution, LGBTQ, minorities, okay, brown, black, indigenous, and women, those three groups, stick with your people, get together, keep it tight, keep fighting, okay? All right, so we are going to move into prayer and healing requests if you haven't already done so. Donations are appreciated. Give this video a thumbs up, post your prayer and healing requests. And I do invite everybody to please join in. The more we can collectively pool our energy, the more productivity we're going to see in the turnout here on our manifestations and prayers. Holy Spirit, we thank you for being with us today and always. We thank you for consistently giving us your love and support and helping us through difficult times in life, even when we don't listen. And I pray over everyone tuning in now or later on that they be open to the guidance and support and healing that you're constantly offering, and that they can take it in not only for themselves, but ultimately to go out and offer it to others. We have a prayer request here from Me Love 716. Prayers for my brother-in-law, David, who's battling an aggressive form of leukemia, waiting on a bone marrow transplant, healings during the waiting process, and follow through during and after that. Yes, prayers over David, the staff who will be helping him, his transplant, and all of the moving pieces that go on through this entire transition, as well as his healing afterward for a quick recovery and remission. Vanessa, prayers for my dad, Alan's health to improve and for him to get his strength back. Prayers for Alan and the rest of the family that's helping him, that everyone can maintain peace, a calm, bring healing and positive energy to him instead of worry and fear and toxicity. Prayers over him on his journey, help him to understand what it is that he's supposed to be learning at this time, and help him to recover his health and energy quickly. Lucy Marsh, prayers for discernment, strength, and courage in my life, for wisdom in communicating during my next few weeks, and knowing when and whom to let go of. Yes, prayers for Lucy to trust herself instead of others' fear or outside influences. Prayers that she is strong in her throat chakra, clearing it, and that every time she's making a move in the right direction, whether it be with her thoughts or her actions, that she sees the universal support she deserves to receive and embraces that. Phil Chavez, Lorraine Chavez, to be healed of memory loss and hearing loss, all health problems be restored with perfect health in Jesus' name. Lorraine Chavez's possessions and finances be restored anew. Okay, prayers over Lorraine that she receive some healing to her health, restoration, and that she can let go of worries and concerns over her finances, knowing that the universe is going to care for her and that all of the support that she needs is there. Return to well-being for her as well as her finances going forward. All right, I do believe that we are at time. I want to thank everybody for being here with us for another beautiful Sunday service here at Roots Revival Interfaith, where we believe in the three truths in the universe. That's numerology, astrology, and intuitive intelligence. We will see you guys back here in a couple weeks. And again, for those of you tuning in through Instagram or Facebook, due to Zuckerberg's hate profiteering and whatnot, I'm leaving the platform officially after 10 years. This will be the last live that I do. So you guys can follow me on some cleaner platforms. That will be TikTok and YouTube. No, they're not perfect, but they are better. And it's something that Spirit has heavily put on my heart to pull out of those platforms. You can also just follow me on the website, Ivy Rivera, psychicmedium.com. Thank you so much, Christina DelRey, our beautiful astrologer, and Wesley, our handsome producer here for helping us out. Thank you, Christina, so much for your wisdom all the time.
Thank you so much. I love being back here again. Thank you for the donation, for the person who donated. And, I just love seeing all the comments and, like to see what people are thinking as well. So what a wonderful community we have here.
Yes, we really do. And you guys, please do post any future sermons that you would like to hear us speak on. And again, yes, thank you for the donations. Everybody, have a great week, and we will see you back here soon. Take care.
Bye.